So we got 40 plus 3 times 5. And then we know that 3 times 5 is 15. And then 40 plus 15 is 55. So the answer would be D. All right, so yesterday we learned how to divide, and we're going to keep, that's the only thing we're going to focus on this week. The only thing. So let's go ahead and take out your notes and go to page 19. Please put away your phones and take out your earbuds, headsets. We're only going to do 2 questions today because these questions are long. Yeah, that's why you have a half a page. So we're going to take the x plus 3 and divide that into, we're going to put that other one under the hood. So the steps are divide the first term, multiply, subtract, add, repeat. So I'm going to go through this one really slow. And I did record class, so you can watch those. And they're on the YouTube channel. All right, so we're going to divide this by this. So off to the kitchen. I like to call it that. I'm going to take my x to the power of 3 and divide that by x. Remember, when you do division, you're just subtracting your exponents. So 3 minus 1 is 2. Go ahead and put that on the top. Put that on the roof. Step number 2 is take the x squared, and you always multiply it by what's in front, the x plus 3. So take x squared and multiply it by x plus 3. We're going to distribute that, and that gives you x cubed plus 3x squared. When you bring it over, so I'm going to bring it over here, before I add, I have to change both signs. So that means that this becomes negative and the second term becomes negative. Okay, so when we subtract, these cancel out. So you have 2 minus 3. What is 2 minus 3? Negative 1. So we got a negative 1x squared. Bring down just the next term. And we're going to repeat it again off to the kitchen. This is my new first term. Now I'm going to divide this by this. So off to the side, divide negative 1x squared by x. And you should get negative 1x. Put that on the roof. Now I'm going to take that negative 1x and multiply it by x plus 3. So I'm going to distribute and distribute. which is going to give you negative 1x squared minus 3x. Now we're going to slide that over. Negative 1x squared minus 3x. But now we have to do a change. So this becomes a positive. And if that's negative, that flips to a positive. So now this cancels. And we're going to add this together. Negative 23. So add negative 23 plus 3. So what's negative 23 plus 3? Negative 20. Bring down the last term. And we got one more time to go to the kitchen. And we'll be finished with our division. So we got negative 20x divided by x. Which is a negative 20. Put that on the roof. Then take that negative 20 and multiply it by x plus 3. And you should get negative 20x minus 60. So negative 20x minus 60. Change. And you'll know you did this process correct when you take your test. You got a test a week from today if you end with a 0. And we did. So the reason why today's questions are harder than yesterday's is because what we have up here, in order to solve it, we have to factor this down. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have to factor the 1x squared minus 1x minus 20. So let me go ahead and pull this on up. So we need two numbers that multiply to a times c and add to b. Feel free to take out your multiplication chart if you need time to figure out those numbers. Two numbers, they have to multiply to negative 20 and add to negative 1. Anybody know the numbers? Thumbs up if you know the numbers. Okay. It could be 1 times 20, 2 times 10, or 4 and 5. Which one do you think is going to give you the 2 or 1 though? What did you say? You have negative 5 and a plus 4. And we make our box. We got our x squared here and our negative 20 here. Actually, let me make that a little bit bigger because So you're going to take out your GCF. So in this box, you have an X and an X, and then you have a 5 and an X, a 4 and an X, and a 5 and a 4. So go ahead, take out your GCFs. And you should have X, and then the 4. And then this row, you have an X, and you have to take out a negative 5. So your factors would be, set this equal to 0, set the X plus 4 equal to 0, and then what do we divide by? Go to the very top. What was the number that we had to divide by? It was on the outside in front of the little roof. What was that factor? Let me back up. The factor that they gave us, we also have to set this one equal to 0. Because this has a third, this is, the highest exponent is 3. So that means there's 3 answers. Go ahead and solve all 3 of those equations. And then you write these 4 numbers in the box. So 5, -4, and -3. So we'll do one more for today. Let me write these answers in the box. 5, -4, and 3. These take a little bit more time, so that's why. All right, who stayed with me to the end? I'm not saying can you take a test. Do we have any questions? This class doesn't really ask questions. Maybe it's because it's early in the morning. All right, let's do one more. So this time we have an X minus 6 in the front. And then I have X cubed minus 8X squared plus 4X plus 48. So we always start by dividing the first by the first. And we get an X squared. Put that on the roof. LaShawn, are you okay? Are you okay? Then we're going to take the X squared and multiply that by X minus 6. You need to go to the nurse? So we're going to take the X squared and multiply that by X minus 6. Go ahead and distribute. And that gives you X cubed minus 6X squared. We're going to slide that over. And before we add, we got to do a change. You see how this is positive? This is going to become negative. And you see how this is negative? That's going to become positive. So I'm going to put a minus sign here and a plus sign here. Okay, so when I add here, this cancels out. And then negative 8 plus 6 would be a negative 2X squared plus 4X. All right, go ahead and divide that negative 2x squared by x. So negative 2x squared divided by x gives you negative 2x. Put that on top of the roof. And then we're going to take negative 2x and multiply that by x minus 6. So negative 2x times x, what is that? What is negative 2x times x? Negative 2x squared. And what's negative 2x times negative 6? A negative times a negative is what? So plus 12x. Almost finished, y'all. Go ahead, slide that over. And then we got to do our change. So the first one becomes positive. The second term, though, that's going to change to a negative. So this cancels. You have 4 minus 12. What's 4 minus 12? Negative 8. Now bring down that last number, and we're almost finished. Take negative 8x, divide that by x, and you get negative 8. Put that on the roof. And then take the negative 8, multiply it by x minus 6. And that would be a negative 8x plus 48. So we're going to slide that over. But we got to do a change, which means that this is going to change to a positive, and the positive 48 becomes negative. So did I end with a 0? All right, I did it right. I'm happy. So we got to take what's on our roof and factor that down. So on our roof, we have x squared minus 2x minus 8. So I need to find, let me make my box. X squared always goes here. Negative 8 goes here. So I need to find two numbers that multiply to give me a times c, which is negative 8. But adds to a negative 2. So don't say it out loud. Just give me a thumbs up when you figure out my numbers. They multiply to give you negative 8, but add to negative 2. Yeah, I got one person, got the number 2 people. Anybody over here figure out the numbers? Multiplies to be negative 8. And adds to a negative 2. Okay. Who wants to give me those numbers? It's always Toby. I appreciate you. I just need one person. What you come up with? Negative 4 and 2. All right. It's either Toby or Che or Gabby. I appreciate y'all. Y'all help me. All right, we got negative 4x and a positive 2x. So if we were to break this down, that would be x and an x, 4 and an x, a 2 in the next, and a 4 in the 2. Go ahead, take out your GCFs. So we got the X, and we have the 4, but this one has to be a -4 because it's touching a -4. And then off to the side, I have an X and a +2. All right, so let's go ahead and set all 3 of these equal to 0. X plus 2 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. And at the beginning, they gave us X minus 6. Go ahead, solve all 3. And that's your 3 answers. And you are done. So for the first one, we have to subtract 2. The second one, we have to add 4. And the last one, we have to add 6. So our answers would be -2, 4, and 6. I'm going to go ahead and write it in the box, and then I'll zoom back out. Okay, what did I say my numbers were again? +4, -2, and +6. Tomorrow we're going to do 2 more. Every day we're going to practice. So you can